Hello, friends. Welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. The rare and elusive male Karen. I've heard several stories, all spectacular and in true form, by the way, but never encountered one in the wild. Sorry your friend had to deal with that immature man baby. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Entitled father demands my friend to let him and his family on the plane. This didn't happen to me personally, but I was a direct witness to all of it. Characters, because this is pretty long. F is friend, me is OP, FB, friend's brother, MK, male Karen, MKW, male Karen wife. Backstory. My friend is rich, like really rich, like owns 2 private jets rich. You get the point. She and her brother are some real estate developers for rich clientele all over Asia. I was needing to get to Singapore to head back to Europe since my flight origin is in Singapore and my original flight from Indonesia was canceled. I told my friend this, and she and her brother had business in Singapore on the day I depart from there, so they offered me a seat on one of their jets while we all go together to Singapore. I was super thankful. 2 days before, F texted me to let me know that in total there are 4 of us flying to Singapore. This is important. And such details like weight and suitcase weight. Come to the day of the flight, I came first while FB was checking the plane. He was flying the plane. Then F arrived. I was asked quickly who the 4th passenger was and said F said it was a friend of the father's who needed to get to Singapore as well. Then MK arrived. Not just him though, his wife and 4 kids. They just poured out of the car and started running to the plane. My friend stopped them, obviously, and demanded an explanation as MK said it was only him. The convo was in Cantonese, but F translated for me later on. F, what the hell is this? MK, you said it was only you. MK, yes, originally, but seeing as I'm in Singapore for a week, I wanted to bring my family along. They just called it last minute. F, MK, we only have 4 seats on this plane. It's me, OP, you, and FB. We have a small jet, it's not going to fit 5 more. MK, well, you just sit in the cockpit and kick him out. What's he doing here anyway? F, he's my friend and I invited him. Whereas you, on the other hand, is a guest. You asked me the other day what plane it was, I told you which one and you still brought more people. This is unacceptable. Put them on a commercial flight, but not here. MK, we still have luggage, I'm not paying extra if going commercial. And MK showed 7 or 8 bags, and these were not like duffel bags, these were huge metal hard suitcases, probably already 4 or 5 kilograms for the bag alone. MKW, when are we boarding? It's so hot, just let the kids board, come on. FB, excuse me, I'm the pilot here and no one is boarding, only the 4 people that was asked. What the F, man? MK, I'm not asking now, I am demanding you let me and my family on this plane, or I'll tell your father you disobeyed me. Disobeyed your elders. F, you're forgetting that this plane belongs to the 2 of us, so we have as much right to control who and what's getting into the plane. We're not arguing about this. It's either you get on this plane and you only, or get out. We're not dealing with this. MK, but I have children. F, so does everyone else in the world. What makes them special? We have business to do, so come on. MK, no, this is bullcrap. I hate this. Just let my kids and wife in. I'm begging you. F, what part of the small jet did you not understand? It's still 5 people. It's extremely unsafe since the kids are already far from being babies. MK began to get red with anger and started flinging the suitcases all over the place, one narrowly missing the plane's wing. MKW was trying to mellow the situation and even telling MK it was worth a shot, but they can fly commercial and that they have the money. MK wouldn't let up. He was wailing around, throwing suitcases, even tried to grab mine, which MKW said no, and he didn't. MK still screaming and throwing his bag even and almost hit F. At a last dash of desperation, MK started ordering F and FB as if he was the parent, threatening to ground them, threatening to call their parents or even the Transportation Safety Board and whatnot. He even tried to take a swing at F, only for him to lose his balance and fall to the ground. F was really far and he didn't even make contact. MK then literally started crying, saying all kinds of nonsense, By this time, MKW had already put the kids into their car, and MKW was just standing from afar seeing her husband having a tantrum. We all just stood there staring at each other, and MK, while he's on the ground, freaking out. F. 2 choices, you or not. MK. I won't go unless my family's on board. F. Fine, then just us 3. Come on, OP. MKW, take this trash away. I'm not dealing with this anymore. MKW did just that, but still with some resistance. MK crying and saying it's not fair and that the children aren't susceptible to adults anymore, referring to F and FB. MKW said F and FB were adults and were having adult conversations, but MK was the child. They left and we left. I could tell F was strained and fell asleep during the entire flight. Flight was good, by the way. Man, if I was you, I'd buy my friend and her brother the nicest bottle of wine I could afford after that. Jeez, what a lunatic. And our second story. Need some salt? Try getting solar panels. Last year, we wanted to get solar panels installed on the front roof of our south-facing house. We looked through the bylaws and there was no mention of them. Cool. We submitted a formal request to the Architecture Review Committee, playing by the rules, expecting a quick, yeah, sure, there's no rule against it. Silly us. We got back a paragraph saying basically your request is denied because our rules say no HVAC equipment in front of the house. We shot back with a full page explaining that these solar panels aren't part of the HVAC system, the roof is not in front of our house, plus here's this fancy law in Virginia that says that the HOA can't ban us from installing solar panels unless it's laid out in the founding documents, which of course it is not. Some time passes, we end up having a meeting with the board along with a couple of the installers to help set the board straight. One of them was worried that the panels would reflect the sun onto our across-the-street neighbor. That's not how science works. Anyway, time passes and we get back this beauty of a letter. I've got it framed and hanging up next to the solar inverter in my garage. Redactions include the name of the neighborhood and the initials of the neighborhood board. What a long way to say, we were wrong, you were right, we don't get to say no to solar panels. And our last story. Enjoy losing your tenants? The area we live in has changed drastically in the last decade or so. Almost all of our neighbors have pulled down their homes or have constructed apartment buildings. The problem is that the sewer system is quite old and not built to handle the current volume of waste. A Chinese company is as well in the process of constructing a new sewer line, so the old line experiences a lot of blockage. In our home, we have a septic tank. We use the sewer system only as a drain for rainwater. The compound is about halfway up a hill. The upper boundary has a live fence, but the lower side next to the road has a wall. This essentially means that when it rains, water from up the hill can flow into our compound, but has no outlet. The dirt road on the other side of the wall is also poorly built and pools a lot of water next to our wall, so to get rid of rainwater, there's an underground connection from the lowest point in our compound to the sewer line, which runs parallel to the wall on the other side of the road. It's not the most ideal setup, but it's worked for decades. Anyway, the new constructions have overtaxed the existing systems. When there's a blockage, the backflow ends up in our yard since it's the lowest exit. There are about 5 apartment buildings upstream of our connection, each with over 30 units, so the backflow is usually pretty heavy. Most of the time, we react quickly and remove the blockage, but it's a real pain in my butt. To add on to this, the caretakers for the 5 apartment buildings don't do crap to help me. So last week, the Chinese construction cut into the existing line. However, they just filled the hole with the breach with dirt and carried on without telling anyone. I came home to a stinky, flooded compound. I call my usual guys, but they aren't around, so I decide it's time for the upstream caretakers to help out. I find 3 of the 5 chilling. I'll be me. They'll be C1, C2, C3. Conversation translated from native language. Me. Hey guys, the sewer line is blocked. I need a hand. C1. Why are you always bothering us with this? It's your problem. Me. It's our problem. We all use this line. You need to contribute to its maintenance. C2. We've moved to the new Chinese system. My building doesn't use the old one anymore. This was a lie. The Chinese construction was being done in stages and it was nowhere near our street. Me. Guys, we're all moving to the new line when it gets here. Just help me out until we can switch. C2. PO'd at being called out. That's not our problem. You handle it however you want. We don't care. Deal with your crap. This really pissed me off since they had no idea how much I did for them. You want me to deal with my crap however I want? Sure thing. First of all, I found the location where the blockage was. Luckily, the crew were still there and they were super chill in helping me unblock it, although I had to buy a new pipe to repair the section they'd broken and also bought them some tea, if you know what I mean. Corruption is a cancer in my country. But I didn't stop there. Motivated by the caretaker's arrogance, I asked some of the guys to help me out the following day. Basically, what we did was remove the connection between our compound and the sewer line. Instead, we leveled the depression in the road right outside our wall to allow rainwater to flow freely down the slope, and we removed a brick from the bottom of the wall to give rainwater an exit from our compound. All I had to do was wait. Yesterday afternoon, the crew working on the Chinese construction caused another blockage on the old line. Again, they didn't tell anyone. They only covered it up with dirt and rocks just like before. By dusk, the 5 apartment buildings started feeling the blockage. The people living on the ground floors, some of them my friends, start to complain. Apartments are getting flooded, sink drains are not working, toilets are not flushing well, showers are flooded with gray water. This evening, almost all the ground floor residents in the 2 closest apartment buildings are moving out. The stench in the houses is unbearable. I just laugh as I help my friends move. The caretakers are too ashamed to ask me for help. They have no idea where the blockage could be since they've never had to fix one before. I'm not about to tell anyone. Update. So just an update. The caretakers moved pretty quick. Turns out they're not bad at their jobs, only needed some motivation. They, all 5, managed to fix the blockage by the afternoon, although by then a 3rd apartment building had begun experiencing some difficulty. A couple more people moved out, but I think it's mostly due to the smell lingering around the buildings. As I'm writing this, I've just come from looking in on the damage. The caretakers are still cleaning houses, which will cost a pretty penny to fix up. I doubt they'll be habitable for at least a couple of months or so. The 3 caretakers whose buildings have been affected are pretty cross with me. There have been some threats about reporting me to the owners of the buildings, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm sure the owners will come wondering why they've suddenly been spending lots of money for repairs. But they're friends of the family, people I've known ever since I was a kid when this community was still small, so I'm sure they won't be a problem. In any case, I won't be moving back to the previous system. Also, I did some research and I realized that diverting stormwater into the sewer line is a terrible thing to do, so I'm not doing that again. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.